Hey crypto family, welcome back to the channel. It's your host here with another deep dive into XRP. I hope you're having an absolutely amazing day, no matter where you are tuning in from around this incredible world of ours. Today, we're diving into something that's got me really excited about XRP's future, and it all starts with this brilliant insight from Phil. Now, here's something most people completely overlook, and this is huge. One of the XRP Ledger's most powerful hidden advantages: it's ridiculously easy for bank developers to work with. We're talking game-changing levels of simplicity here. Bank executives can actually understand the code. Traders can read it. Pretty much every developer in the entire financial industry can jump right in and start building. And here's the kicker. I can actually prove this to you. Coding for the XRP Ledger is completely different from other blockchains. It's refreshingly simple. You don't need to learn some crazy new programming language. Instead, you can use the languages everyone already knows and loves: JavaScript, Python, Java, all the popular ones. It's basically just making API calls. Think about what this means for a second. This makes it way easier for banks to run pilot programs, get internal teams on board, and ultimately secure that crucial institutional buy-in we've all been waiting for. I'm not just throwing theories at you here. Phil actually showed code snippets that prove this point. What he's revealing is that they've made the XRP Ledger so user-friendly for institutions and banks that everyone's going to want to use it. And that, my friends, is exactly why we're going to see massive institutional adoption of the XRP Ledger. Now, let's talk about something else that's absolutely critical, and this comes from smoke. According to Swift, the banking industry has to adopt ISO 2022 before it can even start adopting blockchains for payments. Here's what drives me crazy. Everyone keeps downplaying ISO 20022. I don't think people realize the massive impact this is going to have on the entire payments industry. Right now, cross-border payments are expensive and painfully slow. ISO 20022 is going to make everything faster and cheaper. The internet is literally getting an upgrade to become the internet of value. And you can see the evolution right here. 1973 brought us SWIF TMTS, then ISO 20022. 1999 gave us APIs. 2010 brought more innovations. And now we're moving into tokenized assets, tokenized currencies and securities, Web3, the full internet of value. You know what's wild? When you ask someone if they realize the internet of value is coming, they look at you like you're speaking a foreign language. But it's already happening. This has been set in motion years ago, and we're about to see ISO go live on the 22nd of this month. Here's something that surprises me. There are so many Ripple fans who don't even know about ISO 2022. And honestly, don't you feel like it's barely covered on crypto YouTube channels? I've been covering ISO since day one because I saw how important this was going to be. I was talking about the cryptocurrencies that are going to be part of ISO 2022. XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, IOTA, Algo, ADA, QNT, and there are going to be even more beyond that. Flare is definitely going to be another one for sure. These are the cryptocurrencies that can actually be utilized within ISO messages. People don't understand how massive this is yet, because you could include crypto directly within the message, within the transaction itself. That's what's absolutely game-changing here. Now, I'm not telling you this is all going to happen on day one. Let's be realistic. But this is something that's going to continue happening more and more over time. And that's exactly why I think we're going to see a gradual but steady increase in the price of these cryptocurrencies. And here's something interesting. Have you ever wondered why Bitcoin maximalists are always talking about Ripple and XRP? Let me play you something that really caught my attention.
What I will say is this. I don't like investments where you don't know what you own. And when you own XRP, there is no clear, to me, it is not clear what value the token holders will get out of this ecosystem. If you own Ripple company, it is exceedingly clear.
How do you own the Ripple company?
You can't.
Exactly. No, they trade on Carta. They were trading at a $40 billion valuation before this privately on Carta, and there's plenty of people, it's
right.
pre-IPO.
you can do it if you're as rich as you are, Gary. But look, the reality is that if you ask me the point, it's about a valuation point. It's for
Well, I
why
think what I'm
people
learning
buy.
here, though, Dave, like what I'm learning here, what you just said, the audience should really pay attention to. You're saying a guy like me, and maybe I need to start making more trips and being nice to people when they have failed business models. That's not really like me. This business model is really problematic for me. Don't know why they didn't raise $5 billion if it's such a great deal.
I'll tell you why. They don't want to be diluted.
Well, yeah, but the audience needs to understand that for XRP, there are large players buying XRP today for about $1 or $1.20 in a 232 market, and they have a severe. And by the way, if I had that advantage, I would most certainly take it. If they want to sell me that, I will buy 25. I'd sell everything I got right now, just buy XRP and then dump it. I don't know what the constraints on it is, but dude, I just.
But those investors aren't getting liquid XRP.
No, they're not.
Presumably. So you're saying they should do that.
I mean, you could hedge it, I suppose. But
oh, you can most certainly hedge this, dude. Like, this would be so easy. Lock in 100% overnight. Anyway, it's just the audience needs to understand there's multiple markets here. It's not, buying big volumes. I've seen discounts. I've not seen a discount like this, and then a bullish story.
Well, the bullish story is important, so I'll tell another story.
It should just come with a similar premium if the story is so bullish.
We should probably do a longer form on this.
I love how they clearly don't understand what XRP actually is. I'm sure all of you watching understand XRP because you're smart enough to own it. But notice something else he mentioned. Investing into Ripple, and then over-the-counter sales of XRP at cheaper prices. We all know that's happening in the background. I mean, that's exactly why I think BlackRock is acquiring XRP, most likely through Coinbase and other institutional solutions behind the scenes. But here's the real reason Bitcoin maximalists can't stop talking about Ripple and XRP. It's the biggest threat to Bitcoin's dominance. That's what it comes down to, pure and simple. They fear this cryptocurrency, and honestly, they should. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to admit. XRP is doing everything that Bitcoin was supposed to do, and Bitcoin just completely failed at it. But let me shift gears for a second and talk about something that's been bothering me. The government basically owns every home through property taxes. That's essentially rent you pay to the government. Miss those payments? Say goodbye to your home. And now there's talk again of 50-year mortgages. Think about what that means. You'll literally be paying on your house your entire life. They're trying to solve the housing crisis, but this isn't the solution. Most people are already completely priced out of buying homes. I've always told the XRP community this: treat everything in life the way you treat crypto. If you're going to buy a house, you want to buy at the bottom of the market, not the top. When everyone's saying there aren't enough houses and everyone's buying, that's not when you want to buy. You buy when nobody else is buying, because that's when you get the best deals. Now couple that 50-year mortgage madness with this bombshell. No minimum credit score requirements. Does this sound familiar? It should. The Great Recession and housing crisis of 2007 was caused largely by exactly this kind of thing. Fannie Mae just removed minimum credit score requirements. So now they're going to approve everyone for a house and push them into those 50-year mortgages. Can't afford this payment? No problem. We'll just stretch it out even longer and boom, here's your new payment. Wall Street Apes broke this down perfectly. The average home price in California is now $802,000. Let me show you the math that'll blow your mind. With a 6% interest rate on a 30-year mortgage, your monthly payment is $4,811. And the total loan cost? $1,731,960. But with a 50-year mortgage, sure, your monthly payment drops a little to $4,226, but the total loan cost explodes to $2,535,744. That's almost $804,000 more in interest alone. Interest is the real killer here, and I totally agree. We need a completely different solution to fix these real estate issues. I already know there's going to be a collapse somewhere. It could be commercial real estate trickling down into residential, Or it could be that massive liquidity problem that's still lurking in the banking system. Either way, something's going to break. And guess what? We're holding the solution. Bitcoin maximalists are not going to like what Cathie Wood just said about stablecoins stealing Bitcoin's payment use case on CNBC. Listen to this.
Stablecoins are usurping part of the role that we thought Bitcoin would play. So our bullish forecast out there is 1.5 million by 2030. Given what's happening to stablecoins, which are serving emerging markets in a way that we thought Bitcoin would, I think we could take maybe $300,000 off of that bullish case just for stablecoins. So watch that space. Stablecoins are scaling here, I think, much faster than anyone would have expected.
With longtime bull, Bitcoin bull Cathie Wood on Squawk Box yesterday, the point she was making, I thought was interesting, and that is that maybe the notion that Bitcoin becomes more than just a store of value in digital gold, the idea that it eventually becomes something for cross-border transactions and instantaneous payment, that could be, she's basically saying stablecoin could take a lot of that market share.
I would go even further. I think it's already taking that, right? I think that's kind of her point.
So Bitcoin's never going to be anything other than digital gold?
For years, I think I've been coming on here and saying, hey, we know for sure that people want to use it as a store of value. Maybe one day it'll become a medium of exchange. The question of always like, are you going to buy your coffee with it? The hard part about using Bitcoin for transactions in that manner is if you think Bitcoin is going to appreciate, you don't want to spend an asset that is likely to appreciate in the future.
The guys that bought the pizza that now
correct. And so instead, what do? You spend something that you think is going to depreciate over time, which is the US dollar. And so the rise of stablecoins, I think, is really just taking the exact same asset, it's the US dollar with the same monetary policy, you're putting it on new rails. And what we're finding is that the demand for dollars was way higher than we ever thought before. And I think that's a good thing for the United States and for the U.S. dollar.
A lot of times gold, though, is non-correlated with risk assets. In fact, sometimes it's a place where you can park during times of turbulence in the stock market. You might like gold or treasuries or something like that. Bitcoin is still like trading like a NASDAQ stock, on steroids at times.
So what she's essentially saying is that stablecoins are stealing Bitcoin's thunder. And honestly, we already knew there was a better solution than Bitcoin anyway. Bitcoin is slow, it's expensive, and it was never going to be adopted worldwide. They're still pushing that narrative after all this time, but the reality is it's going to be a combination of different solutions. XRP is also going to steal a massive chunk of Bitcoin's momentum. Think about it. XRP right now could be used between two countries to make real-time payments for less than a penny. That's absolutely game-changing. This was always going to happen eventually. Bitcoin was never the real solution to begin with. But here's something really interesting that Bill Morgan pointed out. There's a serious contradiction happening. Remember when Michael Saylor said Bitcoin was the only crypto that wasn't a security because it couldn't be modified or amended? Now he's saying Bitcoin can be upgraded to handle quantum threats in 10 to 20 years. Hold up, upgraded by WHO? Who exactly is the decision maker here? Michael Saylor says Bitcoin's quantum threat is still 10 to 20 years out, and by then, Bitcoin will upgrade like everything else. But wait a minute, I thought Bitcoin couldn't be changed. This is a major contradiction that nobody's talking about. We'll just upgrade the software, he said. But hold on, you can't upgrade the software. Now he's being wishy-washy again. And you want to know why? Because quantum computers are way closer than we think. This isn't 10 or 20 years out. This is most likely 3 years away. And there's literally nobody there to upgrade Bitcoin to begin with. It's just threat after threat to Bitcoin. I mean, Tether is probably the biggest short-term issue because Tether cannot pass MiCA regulations. Every country right now is coming up with regulations that are very similar to MiCA. So how exactly does Tether have a future? When Tether goes down and USDT depegs, it's taking Bitcoin with it because they've been propping up Bitcoin forever with fake Tether. This is going to be ugly. Now, here's a question that really got me thinking. Are we entering a new phase of crypto adoption, or are we just seeing another cycle of speculation? Over the past few months, we've seen renewed optimism across the crypto space, institutional investments growing, DeFi activity picking up, and governments finally exploring CBDCs more seriously. But here's the big question. Are we truly witnessing the early stages of mainstream adoption? Or is this just another speculative wave like we saw in 2017 and 2021? Crypto is maturing in many ways. Better regulation, improved security, stronger infrastructure. Yet retail sentiment still seems to move largely with price action. So what's your take? Are we evolving past the hype phase, or are we destined to repeat the same market psychology until some global shift happens? Here's what I think we're witnessing right now. The early signs of institutional adoption. But retail is getting frustrated at the same time because crypto prices aren't moving based on all the positive news they're hearing. You see announcement after announcement. This institution is getting involved with crypto. That institution is adopting this network. That network is getting massive partnerships. But the prices aren't reflecting that news at all. So retail investors are thinking, okay, there's something wrong here. Am I invested in the wrong cryptocurrency? Of course not. You're invested in the right cryptocurrency. The price just hasn't caught up yet. But here's the game changer. Crypto is about to get regulated by the US government. That's going to change everything because it's going to separate speculation from utility. It's going to massively benefit utility-driven cryptocurrencies while making speculative cryptocurrencies way less relevant. Plus, you're going to see a lot of cryptocurrencies just disappear. Meme coins are going to be gone. There won't be any more rug pulls happening either. And here's the exciting part. If you're invested in the right cryptocurrency, you're going to make a lot of money very quickly when this happens. I'm talking about seeing prices change like an overnight event, because all that liquidity that's trapped in meme coins and projects that don't solve any real problems, that money's going to shift to what actually does solve problems in the real world. Regulation is going to be a double-edged sword. It's going to make Bitcoin less relevant because it's going to expose that it's actually running on speculation and hype. It's also going to eliminate all the meme coins at the same time, and probably some cryptocurrencies that people thought were great projects but weren't actually solving any real problems. But you're holding the right cryptocurrency when you're holding XRP. Until this all plays out, stay patient.